What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Happy Friday to everyone out there, and welcome to my channel. Talk about all things college football here, guys. I did my prediction video for all Week 0 games yesterday. You should go ahead and go check that out. I apologize for whatever my green screen is doing. It's being really weird, really grainy today, so I apologize. Nothing really I can do about it. I've tried fixing it. Doesn't really want to fix. But hey, happy Friday morning, afternoon, whenever you end up watching this video. I'm going to report some news for you. So I'm going to do one of these videos every Friday for week 1. I may do one more just because there are a lot of games, Thursday, Friday, stuff like that. But it's going to be a little bit of news, some bigger injury updates. So like if a big name is questionable coming into a game, things like that. Starting quarterbacks as we get closer now to week 1. May do a whole video on that. Not quite sure yet. Again, whatever works with my schedule is what I'm going to do for you guys. Try to keep you guys as informed this season as possible. So again, if you are new to the channel, I highly suggest you like, comment, subscribe. Anything like that does help support my channel. And it means, especially if you hit that subscribe button, that you can continue watching my videos in the future. Maybe even ring that bell, get notified when a video gets uploaded. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and go over to the news side of the board over here first. As you can see over here, we got some things to talk about. So let's go ahead and talk about them. First off, we're going to start off with a couple of very sad news pieces. Now, I don't like to talk about sad news, but again, it's news, and I got to talk about it. Not necessarily college football related, but the football world lost a huge name right here. Gary Gaines passes away from complications with Alzheimer's disease. He spent 30 some odd years as a high school football coach within the state of Texas, bounced around to a lot of different programs, but was notable in that he inspired the book and then go on the movie Friday Night Lights. If you haven't read the book, if you haven't watched the movie, highly suggest you go read it, watch it, do at least one, do both of them, because it's a great book, it's a great movie, and sad to see a name like Gary Gaines, a true football legend, passing away this last week. So thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and it's sad to see a legend like that go. And there's a couple other names that I do have to mention here as, Indiana State Sycamore players Christian Eubanks and Caleb Van Hooser were killed in a single car crash while driving their car at night. 2 others in the car were severely injured and are hospitalized. I haven't really seen any further updates there, but Eubanks and Van Hooser, to my knowledge, were both in their teens. Just absolutely devastating when you see something like this. Just really, really, really devastating. And although my knowledge on Indiana State football is very, very limited, my thoughts, prayers go out to these fans, families, teammates, coaches, friends, and even fellow students onto the Indiana State campus. Thoughts, prayers go out to these families, fans, for both situations passing away. I really do send my best wishes to everyone involved in these 2 situations. Just horrible, horrible things. Horrible here. Again, you hate to see young guys pass away that early, whether they're a football player or not. And then, of course, losing a legend like Gary Gaines. So, again, thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved. No easy way to segue from it, but I'm going to try to. Some happy news for Alabama fans. It seems like Nick Saban just keeps getting younger, and he's going to keep getting extended. He's been extended through the 2030 college football season. Got a new 8-year, $93.6 million deal. He's going to be cashing in a lot of money every single year now. Of course, the highest paid coach, ever, and of course, currently coaching in college football. In an interview he did, he said, quote, "I feel like a young man." He's 70, approaching on 71 years old. Might have even turned 71 at this point, but this deal has him coaching until he's 79. So will Nick Saban ever retire? Well, at this rate, probably not. He might end up coaching the Alabama football team from the grave. But good news for Alabama fans, you get Nick Saban for a lengthy period of time. So this Alabama dynasty, sorry haters, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Some NIL news here. There have been a lot of NIL deals signed recently as the season gets closer and closer. But there's one restaurant that's made a big splash. Hooters signs 51 offensive linemen to NIL deals. So kind of a fun story, wacky story, but NIL, of course, is a big talking point right now, not just in college football, but in college athletics. And again, some other names out there signing some other NIL deals. It'd be impossible of me to report on every single one, but I thought this one was interesting and figured I'd put it on the board. But again, NIL is going to be a thing that people are going to talk about for quite some time down the line now. Troy had some interesting news coming out of their program. So an ex-player who, from what I've seen, has been unnamed, alleges sexual assault against a former teammate and 3 coaches involved, including sexual harassment with a pool cue, from what I've seen. So definitely devastating news for this Troy football program. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes anywhere, and we'll see if any sort of sanctions, what kind of punishment get put on this Troy football program. Again, we don't know the ex-player, to my knowledge. Don't know who the former teammate is. Don't know who the 3 coaches who are involved are, but definitely a developing story that if you're a fan of Troy or if you're a fan of a Sunbelt program, I would definitely keep my eyes on, and that definitely could continue to snowball as this season goes along. Probably the biggest news item on this list is right down here. Now, there's a reason I put him put him towards the bottom, and it's because I wanted to talk very in depth about what is going on here. But lots of reports have been coming out that Oregon, the school, has begun preliminary discussions with the Big Ten Conference. This comes in wake of course, USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten Conference. It also comes behind the Big Ten signing a massive media rights deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC. So Oregon maybe trying to get in on a little bit of that Big Ten money. But then there have been other reports out there circulating that Cal, Stanford, Washington are now interested in also joining the Big Ten Conference, which wouldn't surprise me. Haven't really seen anything out there confirming anything. It's just kind of been all rumors. And then, of course, now you have the Clemson, Miami, North Carolina, Florida State. Look, my opinion is going to come out here. Conference realignment is not something that needs to be rushed. Oregon, definitely talking with the Big Ten. Very, very smart on their part. But on the Big Ten part, I would rather they get discussions with UCLA and trying to get that situation. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the governor of California is trying to keep UCLA from joining the Big Ten, or at least give them some sort of punishment because they just decided to uproot themselves from the University of California system, leaving the University of California, Berkeley in the dust. USC is a private institution. They can do whatever they want. So moving to the Big Ten, really, really easy. UCLA, though, again, I talked about this in my news video last week, but in case you guys didn't watch that, UCLA, a public institution under the University of California system, which does include Cal Berkeley, and again, no one knew that move was happening. So UCLA could be in some trouble. Again, we'll see what happens, but back to Oregon here. Again, Oregon, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Washington were talking, but I don't necessarily expect a decision to come on anything soon. Again, conference realignment is going to be something that continues to shape not just college football, but college athletics over these next coming years. So we'll see what happens. But again, Oregon is the only team that I've seen confirmed that is talking to a source. I know there are rumors out there of teams talking with the SEC, with the Big 12, even with the ACC, and from all the rumors and circulations out there, the Pac-12 definitely has got some work to do in order to try to keep their conference together, because Oregon could be leaving the conference very soon if these talks decide to go down the line further. And even you could throw Notre Dame into this conversation as well, as Notre Dame still has to sign a TV deal with NBC. So we'll definitely see what happens with conference realignment. Again, don't believe everything you read out there with conference realignment. Again, Oregon's the only one I've seen that's really been confirmed, they are talking with the Big Ten. Now, again, it wouldn't surprise me if teams like Washington and Cal and Stanford were also talking with the Big Ten. And again, some other programs talking with other conferences. Wouldn't surprise me if that's necessarily true. Oregon's just the only one from what I've seen that has been confirmed they are talking with this specific conference. So when it comes to conference realignment, be careful. Don't believe everything you read. It's interesting to kind of put in your mind. Set it in the back because, of course, with conference realignment, it's unpredictable and anything can happen. But that's, of course, going to be a big news story that I could even continue to follow this upcoming season. Depends on what news comes out about it. So Oregon makes headlines this year. And then some other thing I wanted to touch on as well, if you're into this kind of thing, Mario Morris, who was Notre Dame's executive deputy athletic director, has been named NCAA Senior Vice President of Administration and CFO. So he's going to be having now a new role higher up in the NCAA. Okay, that is your news report. Let's move on to the other side of the board, which I like to call the roster report. And again, this basically is going to be me kind of talking about injuries that have happened, some more major injuries. Again, it's going to be impossible. I don't have enough room to mention every single injury that has happened out there. And if some players are maybe questionable coming into their matchups, I'll more specifically be focusing on the Week 0 games this upcoming this week. Again, I'll probably do one, maybe two of these coming in to the next week. Again, this is highlighting major injuries, quarterback battles, again, as we start to get into the front of the college football season. Let's start out with some long-term injuries, as the most notable one, in my mind at least, at the top of the board. Rasheen Ali is going to be stepping away from the Marshall program, is a ranked running back in the NFL prospect system. I believe it was number 5 or something, according to Mel Kiper, and was tied last season in the nation with 23 total rushing touchdowns. And he's going to be stepping away from football for a little bit. Of course, that means that he has no timetable to return, and that's a huge loss for a Marshall program who already could have been struggling this year. They're moving into a new conference, and that comes with a lot of new challenges, and now you lose your best offensive player. So we'll see what happens with Rasheen Ali if he plays this season, if he decides that, hey, you know what, football's not for me, and maybe backs out of it entirely. Maybe he goes forward with the NFL after missing the season. Who knows what could happen with Rasheen Ali at this point. My hope is that he gets back playing on the football field for Marshall, the Thundering Herd, sometime this season. But as of right now, not with the team. If you remember last week, Bivens, a running back for South Alabama, was going to be gone off this team. Well, they're now losing another key part. This time on the other side of the ball. Defensively, defensive back Keith Gallman's going to be out for the season with a pectoral injury, and he was one of their best defensive backs on that team. So South Alabama, again, a team that I thought could push for a spot in a bowl game, and I have predicted making a bowl game, now going to be faced with some more challenges as you do lose one of your better running backs and one of your better defensive backs there as well. So definitely some holes and some guys that are going to need to step up and fill some spots in. Boston College, I don't know how I didn't catch this last week. Should have been reported last week, but since it wasn't reported last week, I'll report it here. This is a little bit of old news to all you Eagles fans out there, but for the rest of you, Boston College is losing a key piece of their offensive line. An all-ACC member, Christian Mahogany, is going to be out for the season with a knee injury, and that is a huge loss for Boston College. In the running back room, continuing on with the ACC, Virginia's going to be losing a pretty key part there. Ahmad Foston is going to be out for the season with, you guessed it, a knee injury. So he is going to be sidelined for the entire season. That's a pretty big loss for the Virginia Cavaliers. And Wake Forest, who already is going to be without quarterback Sam Hartman for an indefinite period of time. They're also going to be without Ryan Smenda, one of, if not their best linebackers on this team. I should rephrase that, one of, if not the best linebacker on this team. He's going to be out indefinitely, serving a suspension. So definitely a story to keep an eye on there. Again, when will Sam Hartman be back? We don't know. When will Ryan Smenda be back now for Wake Forest? We don't know. Wake Forest, a top 25 team in most people's eyes coming into this upcoming season. Now, kind of fallen out, right? You've lost by far your best offensive player and your gunslinger in your quarterback, and now probably your best defensive player in Smenda going to be out indefinitely as well. So definitely some players to keep an eye on for Wake Forest as the season goes along, seeing how long those two guys are out. We will see what happens with the Wake Forest program. Kentucky is going to be without Chris Rodriguez for an indefinite period of time. He is also serving a suspension. And again, don't know when Chris Rodriguez is going to be back. But that's a substantial loss for Kentucky. Kentucky, a team that, in some people's eyes, can win can win 9, 10, maybe even 11 games this year. Some people think they have the capabilities to knock off the Georgia Bulldogs as they get them in Lexington this upcoming season. Of course, Georgia, the reigning national champions. So being without Chris Rodriguez, by far their best running back, a breakout player from last year, that's going to hurt for the Kentucky Wildcats. LSU also going to be without a running back for a little bit. He's serving a suspension. He's going to be eligible September 17th, which means he will be missing that big week 1 matchup with the Florida State Seminoles. So a big loss there for LSU. And we'll see what LSU can do. Again, first year head coach in Brian Kelly coming in, hoping to kind of turn this program around from what it has been the last couple seasons. No denying the talent is there for LSU. And also, the LSU quarterback situation still has yet to be figured out. Brian Kelly said he's close on making a decision. But again, as of recording this video and as it says up there, August 25th, no decision has been made quite yet. Ole Miss is going to be without their starting kicker last season. Caden Costa is going to be eligible sometime in late November. So Ole Miss is going to be without their starting kicker from last year most of the year, as he's going to be serving a suspension within the program. So definitely going to have to find a kicker that'll step up for you for Ole Miss. But losing Costa, a guy that was fairly effective for the Rebels last season, that's a big loss for Ole Miss. One of the bigger storylines was Tennessee is going to be suspending linebacker William Mohan, and he is going to be out, of course, for an indefinite period of time. Don't know when he's going to be able to get back on the football field, but that was also one of the bigger news to come out, again, along with guys like Ryan Smenda and Chris Rodriguez getting suspended as well. So William Mohan, again, was going to be a pretty key part to this Tennessee defense. Of course, will not be a part of that for the foreseeable future. You're also going to have a guy in Memphis, another linebacker, Bryce Edmondson. He's going to be out indefinitely. No cause given on why he would be so. But again, he will not be with the team for the foreseeable future. Bryce Edmondson, kind of a backup second-string linebacker for this Memphis program, was going to play a pretty solid role for this team. But as of heading into week 1, doesn't seem likely that he will be playing in that week 1 matchup. Texas Tech is losing a really key part to this offensive line, as Cole Spencer is going to be out indefinitely due to a knee injury. So, again, that's a huge loss off the Texas Tech defensive line. They have a new offensive system that they're going to try to put in place this upcoming season. We'll see how effective that is now without, I believe, their starting left guard. Now, I could be wrong on his position. I know he's a starter on the offensive line, and it's a huge loss for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Liberty is going to be without wide receiver C.J. Daniels for quite some time, it seems like, as he is dealing with a knee injury as well. So who knows when C.J. Daniels is going to be able to get back on the football field for the Liberty Flames. But there is some good news to come out of Liberty this week. Charlie Brewer has been named the starting quarterback. Now, I had always seen Charlie Brewer as the starting quarterback for the Liberty Flames. And the interesting thing with Charlie Brewer is, had a really good season in 2019. 2020, not so much. Was a very shaky year for Charlie Brewer and company. 2021, transfers over to Utah, starts the first couple of games, and then realizes it's not working out. Utah switches over to Cam Rising, and Charlie Brewer leaves the program. Well, now Charlie Brewer comes to Liberty, and he's got some big shoes to fill. Malik Willis is leaving town. He was an NFL draft pick. Charlie Brewer is going to come in if he can have a season like he did in 2019. This is going to be a dangerous Liberty Flames team. Again, we'll see when they get C.J. Daniels back, but Charlie Brewer looking to be the future of this program at the quarterback position for the time being. Washington, we got an update on Edifwan Ulofashio, the linebacker, and it wasn't a good one. In fact, from my video last week, I reported on him as well. Again, still that knee injury. It's just now been pushed back, so he won't be available until mid-October. But good news coming out of Washington this week as well. Michael Penix, the Indiana transfer, going to be named that starting quarterback for the Huskies in 2022. Of course, Michael Penix had a really good 2020. Has had an injury-riddled career, was injury-free in 2020, and then in 2021, what happened? He got injured again. So we'll see if Michael Penix can stay healthy for Washington this upcoming season, but he was named that starter out of the Husky program. Okay, diving in now. So those are some of your updates on your more long-term injuries for teams that are not playing in Week 0. For teams that are playing in Week 0, here are a couple of injuries that you got to watch. Wide receiver Ja'Kai Douglas is going to be out for that game against, who is it? Duquesne for the Florida State Seminoles. Was going to be a pretty key part of that wide receiver room. You will not see him on the football field come Week 0. Quarterback Grant Grinnell is dealing with some eligibility issues, and although Austin Allen probably going to end up getting the start anyway for Texas Tech, Grant Grinnell was going to be a solid backup option. He is questionable to play Saturday again, seeing what happens with his eligibility issue the way it seems right now. Again, you've only got limited time. You got to hurry this up and you got to be quicker, but it doesn't look like Grant Grinnell is going to be ready to go on Saturday. But again, no worries. You still do have your starter in Austin Allen, who should be able to play and start that game. Nebraska going to be dealing with some injuries, so their tight end room was already going to be tested. Those around the Husker program know that Thomas Fidone has been injured for quite some time, and it is uncertain when he will be back. Chris Hickman, who was the backup tight end, he's also going to be out on Saturday. It seems like they are both questionable to play per most injury reports. They are both questionable for that game against Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. Now, I am unsure, as the Husker team is already in Ireland, I am unsure if one, both, or neither of them traveled with the team to Ireland. That I am very unsure about. I haven't seen anything on. Nonetheless, Travis Vokalek will still get that starting tight end spot, but backup Chris Hickman and what probably was going to be the third string in Thomas Fidone, if not the second string above Chris Hickman. Tight end depth will be tested a little bit against the Northwestern defense. And then moving on now to North Carolina. We'll get up here in a little bit, but North Carolina, Jaquarius Conley is going to be doubtful for the Saturday game against Florida A&M. FAMU dealing with a lower body injury. Unlikely that we will see him on the football field for that game. One of their better defensive backs returning on this North Carolina team, was a really good player for them in 2021, and will be out for at least the first game of the year in Week 0 in 2022. But good news coming out of North Carolina. They have named their starting quarterback, and again, Tar Heel fans, let me know what you think. Drake May named that starting quarterback for North Carolina. So Drake May, do you guys think that Jacoby Criswell should have been given the start? Let me know what you think. Again, I think it was pretty 50-50 in my opinion. Not a lot to go off of last year. And it seems like that Mac Brown has decided that Drake May is the better option, and he will be the starting quarterback. Now, again, the game is against FAMU, and I expect Jacoby Criswell to still get some playing time. He's going to get snaps in the game, I can assure you. Again, Drake May being named the starter. I think we'll really see who the starter is coming out of this Week 0 game. And speaking of quarterbacks, some other quarterback battles that I have seen be won, and there probably have been more. I just haven't really seen it. Vanderbilt has named their starter, and that is important because Vanderbilt plays in Week 0 as Mike Wright will be leading the team. I believe in that video yesterday, I said Ken Seals was going to be the starter. Well, and again, Vanderbilt had not named a starting quarterback yet, and my prediction or assumption, if you will, was wrong. Mike Wright named the starting quarterback for the Vanderbilt Commodores. He will be leading that team in Hawaii against the Rainbow Warriors. We're going to skip this one for a second and come down here. Illinois has named their starting quarterback as well. Tommy DeVito, the former Syracuse player, the Syracuse transfer, he will be your starter for the Illinois Fighting Illini in 2022. Again, you still have Artur Sitkowski, the former Rutgers transfer, back there as well. And we'll see what happens when Tommy DeVito is that starter against the Wyoming Cowboys. And now up the middle here, the last quarterback battle that I've seen won, Miles Kendrick, I believe a former Kansas transfer, is going to be named the starting quarterback of the New Mexico Lobos. Now, expectations for that team are not high, and we'll see what Miles Kendrick can do for that team in 2022. So there you guys have it. I'll let you look at the injuries just a little bit more here. And as I shift back to the center here, hey, I do want to thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow we are kicking off the college football season. Finally, guys, I know. College football is back, and I hope to have a great 2020 season. I'll be doing live updates on my community tab as much as I can every week. Again, some week my availability is going to be different than others as I have responsibilities here on my college campus. But again, I will try to update you guys as much as possible. Week 0 is finally here, and college football is finally back. Let me know if I missed any news here. You guys can leave more down in the comment section below. Feel free to. And hey, please like, comment, subscribe, as it does help support my channel. And remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all of you guys in the next video. Goodbye.